Introducing Lee Jae-Yong, widely known in international circles as JY Lee. His story isn't that of an ordinary corporate heir. Jae has been instrumental in transforming Samsung from a strong national company into an international powerhouse, with a valuation soaring into the hundreds of billions. But his ascent to the top hasn't been without its share of dark clouds. Jae's career has been tarnished by legal issues, including being found guilty of crimes like bribery and embezzlement, which led to prison terms. Despite his status as one of Korea's wealthiest individuals, his incarcerations were relatively short, as the main goal of the prosecutions seemed more focused on reducing his power rather than enforcing long-term imprisonment. For a time, it appeared that Jae's role at Samsung was over. But then, in a surprising turn of events, he was pardoned in August 2022 by South Korean President Yoon Yeol. Merely 2 months after his pardon, Jae made a surprising comeback, resuming his position as chairman of Samsung. This decision raised eyebrows, with speculation about President Yoon's motivations and whether he was influenced by powerful figures. However, the story takes an even more intriguing turn with the revelation that the United States played a role in Jae's pardon. What implications does this international involvement have for Jae's astonishing return? And what could this mean for the future direction and governance of Samsung? Let's uncover the layers of this complex corporate narrative. Born on June 23, 1968, in Seoul, JY Lee grew up in the shadow of Samsung, a company already thriving in various industries. However, Samsung's entry into electronics and appliances, its now iconic sectors, was yet to happen. Lee Kun-hee, Jae's father, was the driving force behind this strategic pivot, grooming himself as the successor of Samsung's expanding empire. Jae's educational journey was marked by a blend of traditional and Western influences. He pursued East Asian history at Seoul National University, mirroring the academic path of his contemporary, Sang-woo. His thirst for knowledge led him to Keio University for an MBA, and he even ventured into a PhD program in business administration at Harvard. However, in 1991, Jae chose to forego his academic aspirations to join Samsung, signaling the start of a new era in his professional life. At just 23, Jae was appointed Vice President of Strategic Planning at Samsung, quickly advancing to the role of Chief Customer Officer, a testament to both his family ties and his own strategic vision. While his rapid rise was facilitated by his lineage, Jae's ability to make a mark in the competitive world of business was undeniable. In contrast to other family members who comfortably settled in executive roles, Jae zeroed in on Samsung's most dynamic and future-oriented division, electronics. This decision set him apart from his siblings, like Lee Boo-jin, who led the luxury hotel chain Hotel Shilla, and Lee Seo-haun, who directed Samsung's Welfare Foundation's philanthropic efforts. Jae's first major breakthrough came in the field of memory chips. Under his influence, Samsung initiated a series of innovative steps, starting in 1999 with the world's first 1 GB NAND flash. This innovation streak, culminating in a 64 GB chip by 2007, positioned Samsung as a memory technology powerhouse, a factor that later proved crucial during Jae's legal challenges. Beyond memory chips, Jae's strategic vision was evident in Samsung's television division. He didn't just focus on product superiority, he revolutionized Samsung's marketing approach. At various tech events, Samsung showcased its prowess with large displays, high resolutions, and cutting-edge features like OLED and QLED. This marketing brilliance, spearheaded by Jae, cemented Samsung's dominance in the TV market for years. This reimagined narrative captures JY Lee's unique contributions and pivotal role in shaping Samsung's journey from a diversified conglomerate to a leader in the global electronics market. In 2008, Samsung faced a major shift when its chairman, Lee Kun-hee, who is also JY Lee's father, resigned from his position. This wasn't a typical case of a business leader retiring. Lee Kun-hee's resignation was a consequence of being indicted for tax evasion. This led to a suspended 3-year prison sentence and a substantial fine of $109 million. The scandal posed a risk to Samsung's image and stirred up worries about potential political corruption, as there were accusations of Samsung engaging in bribery with influential figures in South Korea. To mitigate the fallout, Lee Kun-hee and several high-ranking executives stepped down, leading to the dismissal of the bribery charges. This turn of events had a profound effect on J.Y. Lee's future with the company. The scandal had sullied the family's reputation, casting doubt on his ability to take the helm at Samsung. In an effort to restore their standing, the Lee family allegedly resorted to drastic measures, including bribing South Korea's then-president, Lee Myung-bak. This allegation was more than just rumor, as President Lee Myung-bak was later sentenced to prison for accepting bribes, among other offenses. Despite the scandal, Lee Kun-hee made a comeback to Samsung as its chairman in 2010 after receiving a pardon. This move significantly improved his and Jay's positions within the company. By 2012, Jay was elevated to vice chairman, demonstrating the substantial influence and resources that large corporations like Samsung can wield to overcome legal challenges. The Lee family's legal issues, however, were far from resolved. In 2014, Lee Kun-hee experienced a heart attack. Although he recovered, this incident led Jay to assume more responsibilities, effectively making him the de facto chairman. Jay's increased power at Samsung soon led him into legal hot water of his own. He was embroiled in a bribery case involving another South Korean president, Park Geun-hye. Jay was accused of offering $38 million in bribes to support a significant corporate merger. Despite Samsung's defense that these funds were charitable donations, the courts convicted Jay of bribery, embezzlement, and perjury, resulting in a 5-year prison sentence. Jay's stint in prison, however, was not as lengthy as initially expected. After serving a year, the Seoul High Court reduced and then suspended his sentence. This relief was temporary, as the Supreme Court later ordered a retrial, leading to another 2.5-year sentence for Jay in early 2021. With his legal options exhausted, Jay prepared to serve out his sentence until an unexpected intervention by the United States altered the course of events. The tech world has recently been abuzz with the global chip shortage, a predicament that affected a wide range of products, from high-end electric vehicles like Tesla's to everyday household appliances. Customers across the globe faced extended delays, a consequence of a critical supply chain issue, specifically in the semiconductor sector. This shortage presented a dual-edged sword for businesses. They could capitalize on the limited supply by raising prices, but they also missed out on fulfilling substantial consumer demand. This situation also reflected poorly on the U.S. administration under President Joe Biden, highlighting the need for swift and effective solutions. Seeking to address this crisis, the U.S. turned to tech giants such as Samsung and TSMC for aid. However, Samsung was navigating its own internal upheaval following the demise of Lee Kun-hee in late 2020. The company was in urgent need of a strong leader to guide it through these turbulent times. J.Y. Lee, despite his controversial past, emerged as a potential candidate to fill this leadership void. The path for Jay's return was paved by the influential U.S. Chamber of Commerce, a major lobbying force in America. While the chamber keeps its donors confidential, it is known to be supported by heavyweight corporations such as FedEx, Facebook, Microsoft, Chevron, Comcast, Ford, and Pfizer. In 2021, this group reportedly influenced South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol to formulate a strategy to alleviate the global chip shortage. A key element of this plan was to release J.Y. Lee from prison on parole in August 2021, after serving only a portion of his second sentence, albeit with a 5-year restriction on his business activities. Fast forward to August 2022, President Yoon Suk-yeol granted Jay a pardon, emphasizing his importance to the South Korean economy. This decision led to public protests, but it didn't hinder Jay's reinstatement as the chairman of Samsung in October 2022. Following his return, the market witnessed a dramatic decrease in memory chip prices, plummeting by as much as 53%, which significantly impacted Samsung's profitability with a 95% drop within a year. The reasons behind this market shift remain speculative. Whether they were influenced by Jay's strategies or were a natural market correction is uncertain. In this extraordinary turn of events, a once convicted leader has now resumed control over Samsung. Although back in power, Jay is confronted with new challenges, including the significant dip in memory chip prices and the shifting dynamics of the smartphone market. What do you think about Jay Lee and Amp Samsung? Share your thoughts in the comment below, and don't forget to subscribe for more business insights.